Well, I never thought we'd go here, but this week someone made a tweet and I'm going to talk about it. So on Friday, October 22nd, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, put out a tweet saying that hyperinflation is here and it's happening now. From our opinion, that is really misguided. So what I want to do this week is break down truly what inflation is, what hyperinflation is, and why hyperinflation just isn't a reality at this moment. So before we talk about hyperinflation, we should define inflation. And when we think of inflation, it's the idea of something that costs $1 today will cost more than $1 moving forward. An example of that would be a gallon of milk. Right now, a gallon of milk, depending on where you're getting it, is around $3. That is more expensive than it has been recently. So inflation is normal. Historically, it averages 2.5% to 3% a year. We're currently sitting higher than that, but we are not in a hyperinflated environment. So if you look up hyperinflation, basically what you'll see is you'll be talking about prices going up by a minimum of 50% in any given month or 1,000% in a year. Now, I know it has been difficult over the last year as we have seen prices rise based off of supply chain constraints and other things that we are worrying about, but we're certainly not in a hyperinflationary environment. Now, hyperinflation does exist, just not in our current environment. Take Venezuela, for example. We've heard about them in recent years. The reason that Venezuela had a hyperinflationary environment was because they went through a regime change that triggered a civil war. Those are the kind of large geopolitical events that end up creating hyperinflation. That is not something that we are going to experience here in the US. Take that same gallon of milk. If we were experiencing hyperinflation right now, that same $3 gallon of milk would cost $4.50 next month, and 1 year from now would be $30 for that same gallon. That is not something that we are worried about happening anytime soon. Current CPI, or the Consumer Pricing Index, has inflation pegged right now at about 5.4%. Now that's a lot, and it's certainly above where we would be at historically. But if you look at it right now, the US dollar index is at 93. So obviously we would think normally the US dollar index would be around 100. So we are certainly not getting on a day-to-day basis with our dollar what we were maybe 12 or 24 months ago, but this is not hyperinflation. And the reason we think it's dangerous to talk about something being in a hyperinflationary mode is because it tends to panic investors, and especially people who are on more fixed income, thinking that they are not going to be able to pay for what they need on a day-to-day basis. A couple of areas where we have experienced inflation that is well above and beyond what maybe we were anticipating has been lumber. Now, that was something that peaked in the spring and has come down pretty rapidly since then. And we've obviously heard a lot about the disruption in shipping, and that is still continuing. But we're already seeing, even in the last couple of weeks, shipping prices are beginning to come down. Now, it's uncomfortable reopening an economy, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. It's not fun. There is certainly some pain points, and we have a labor force right now that is disrupted. People are not in the jobs they should be, and that is causing that pressure on supply chains and is leading to some of those inflationary conditions that we're going to deal with both now and probably over the next 12 to 24 months. It will be painful for a while. That being said, like all things, it will get better. So just remember, this is not Zimbabwe. This is not Venezuela. We are experiencing inflation at a heightened level right now. That will probably continue for a while, like I said, but we will soldier on. GDP growth is not only steady, but should continue to grow here over the next 6 to 12 months. And we do not believe that we are going to experience any kind of hyperinflation anytime soon. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. It's never a good idea to let your emotions dictate decisions within your investment portfolio. or your financial plan. So whether it's something that is said in the mainstream media or a tweet by a tech CEO, if you're worried, give us a call and we'll help walk you through it. Have a great weekend.